Truly, it was a glorious time when the Crash Bandicoot N. Sane trilogy dropped last year and reminded both publishers and players that platformers were relevant. PS1 purists were able to give Crash another bash, and those who'd heard of the legendary Bandicoot's adventures were finally able to give it a try in lush-looking 4K. Okay, I'll never forgive that game for trying to get that over. However, it got us thinking, and by us I mean myself and Scott Tailford, aka the only two people in the office that are actually old enough to have owned a PS1 back in the day, about which other games on that classic library deserve this high resurrection treatment on modern consoles. So we're just going to tell you. With this in mind, I'm Jules.
I'm Scott.
And these are the 10 PS1 games that deserve classic HD remakes.
But not just like, any just like here's a bunch of remasters. We need to do something, it's like Crash Bandicoot-Style. So they know that we know what we're getting, we know what they know they know what we know to expect, because Crash was like a thing, and then...
Number 10, Soul Reaver. Oh dear God in heaven, or just the folks over at Crystal Dynamics, please make another Soul Reaver. The faux Shakespearean tone, the insanely cool gothic architecture, and the badass characters. From the moment Raziel started speaking, I was hooked. Gameplay had us contorting the world itself to shift between planes of reality, to the spirit realm, switching up enemy sets, and literally letting you watch the environment warp into all sorts of different shapes. Raziel had a solid set of abilities, ranging from devouring souls and pinning guys to walls with spears, to gliding about the place and summoning the titular Soul Reaver blade in Wraithfall. Upgrading this would fix the occasionally troublesome platforming sections, but mainly, it'd touch up one of the coolest video game worlds in PlayStation history. I mean, come on, the place is called frickin' Nosgoth.
Number 9, Jade Cocoon. Oh, Jade Cocoon, you were such a weird game. Capitalizing on the popularity of such social mega powers as Pokemon and Final Fantasy, the game sought to tie the two together with its own sticky silk. You're cast in the role of a young Cocoon Master who's out to prove he's the very best, like no one ever was, mutilating his wife's face and chest. Seriously, that's in the game.
Not remember that at all.
Yeah, weird moment about his wife getting scarred every time that she cleanses one of your many captured creatures aside. This is one of the most overlooked RPGs on the PS1. The pre-rendered backgrounds were super detailed for the time and so varied that you felt connected to their weird world. Combat wasn't random either, allowing you to pick and choose your battles, and the ability to call on one of these creepy crawlers to help you out in a pinch was absolutely baller. It lacked the overall polish of a Squaresoft game, but that's exactly why it needs a remake, as in terms of gameplay, this was bedrock solid. With a bit of love, this could be the bee's knees.
Number 8, Future Cop LAPD. I mean, look, to be honest, nearly every one of these is going to start with me going, oh dear God, why has this not happened? But if you never played Future Cop LAPD, know that it's essentially RoboCop meets Transformers. You play as a 2-mode X1 Alpha mech that doubles as a hover car, transforming at the touch of a button. Developers Visceral, may they rest in peace, provide levels that blend the occasional chase sequence or time checkpoint race with shooting sections and taking cover to avoid missile barrages. The surrounding world was this dystopian Blade Runner type spin on LA that just looked great, and there was even a local multiplayer mode, may they rest in peace, where two players piloted their mechs against one another, capturing points to dominate the battlefield. This with modern day graphics, all the whirring cogs and moving plates of a mech/jet car hybrid transforming to and fro. Bring that on.
Number 7, Silent Bomber. Silent Bomber will always have a special place in my heart, mainly because I got drunk once and beat the game in a single session and had the time of my f***ing life. Now, I will state this clearly, this game is by no means perfect, but it had so much potential that it's literally dripping with it. The story is nonsense, about a guy called Utah who doesn't want to bomb anymore because he killed some kids and has to do one more bomb to out-bomb them all. He also looks like Dante and has sideburns that justify a HD remake all on their own. It doesn't really matter though, as the gameplay here is stellar, letting you stack bombs on enemies all the while dashing around and then creating some lovely big bangs left, right, and center. You can explode enemies, burn enemies, shock enemies, and suck enemies? Is that? I mean, it's got gravity, I mean. This is a game that would scratch that pseudo Devil May Cry itch, and if I'm being honest, Platinum Games should totally be the ones to helm this project, as the equation of emo pro tag, insane combat, and bumping techno is something they are very able to solve.
Number 6, Ninja Shadow of Darkness. Looking like some Baldur's Gate / Legend of Zelda hybrid, but with the coolest characters in history.
Samurais!
Ninjas, Jules. Ninja Shadow of Darkness has a similar feel to something modern like Neo or Onimusha. Demonic, oversized boss creatures get in the way every few moments, but for the most part you're battling through levels with a slew of meaty martial arts moves that felt, especially in 1998, phenomenal. Puzzles and platforming factored in too, but mainly this is remembered for its stellar combat and atmosphere. A remake would sort the occasionally stilted feel of moving and jumping, but hopefully maintain the feeling of roundhouse kicking an evil lumberjack into oblivion. I mean, sure, gaming industry, Ghost of Tsushima is a good start, but give us more ninjas! They should never have gone away.
Number 5. Vib Ribbon. You're a line-drawn rabbit dancing down a track of obstacles in an endless void. No, that's not a line from one of my therapy sessions, but it's actually the entirety of Vib Ribbon. And while that is indeed weird, this game f***ing rocked. The real hook here wasn't the graphics, although Vibri is f***ing adorable, but the gameplay premise. You could dance and dodge along to not only the tracks provided in the game, but you could also put in your own CDs and bop to your own beats. At the time, this was a really impressive feature, and in this day and age would make perfect sense if it were ever given the up-res rub. I wouldn't even say they need to change the graphics, but if they did, they could provide some awesome visualizers in the background. What I loved about this game was its simplistic focus on gameplay. And I'm just being honest, I think that a game in which we could boogie along to our favorite Viking plowing metal as a line drawing needs to exist. Am I right?
Number 4, Heart of Darkness. With games like Metal Gear Solid and Heart of Darkness, 1998 really showed gaming could contend with the likes of TV and film. Though its 3D work looks about as dated as the Dire Straits Money for Nothing video now, in its day, this looked sublime. Centered on character Andy getting whisked away to some far-off land to look for his kidnapped dog, it allowed developers Amazing Studio to go hog wild with a blank canvas world and all sorts of enemy designs. Remaking it could easily be aesthetic only, as character Andy's general movement is still pretty solid. As we saw with Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap remake, sometimes all these old games need is a considerable touch-up and recreation of their most iconic cutscene moments, with the mechanics remaining intact. Oh, and while they're on, maybe they could sort out the checkpoints, because yeah, this thing could be brutal.
Number 3, Bloody Roar. Okay, so the rights to Bloody Roar used to belong to Hudson Soft, but are now held by Konami. So this remaster of an outstanding and overlooked fighting game could not only be a huge win for fans of the franchise, but also do something to repair Konami's shattered image. Seriously, Konami, sort your f***ing selves out. Anyway, Bloody Roar is a fighting game which lets the players transform their character into a zoanthrope, or zoanthrope, which is basically a half-human, half-furry wet dream. It's basically like having two fighters at once, as the moveset is expanded, damage output is increased, and every match becomes a balancing act of when to transform to get the best out of your beast. The flow of combat was ace, allowing you to dodge opponents, then move in for the kill with combos that would make Injustice blush. And with the likes of Killer Instinct doing wonders for Microsoft, now is the time to pull another pugilist out of the past.
Number 2, Evil Zone. One sick-ass fighting game with characters that walked the line between Power Rangers and all-out anime, Evil Zone was a childhood favorite that I bet a whole lot of you are now going, oh, that game! Developed by wrestling game maestros Ukes, this came complete with hand-drawn cutscene animation and a fantastic roster of characters. Big red armored warriors with laser swords, high-kicking schoolgirls, stupidly massive-chested ninjas again, and an evil character whose role is literally listed as psychopath. Evil Zone had more charisma and charm than the majority of Tekken copycats combined. Gameplay-wise, moves were impactful and chainable, seeing Evil Zone borrow a general sense of flow from Tekken, but using all that anime flair to carve a supremely memorable identity. With fighting games like Dragon Ball FighterZ, and Guilty Gear Zerd,
whatever,
the bar has definitely been raised when it comes to showcasing video game combat. Give a remake of this to a studio like Arc System Works and watch the faces of millions light up in the process.
And number 1, Tombi. Tombi, or Tomba if you want to get serious about it, is one of those rare games which approach the market with such confidence that you couldn't help but love it. And it does have such a weird premise. You play as a little ogre called Tombi or Tomba, depending on where you are in the world, and you've got to retrieve your grandfather's bracelet which has been swiped by some sourpuss swines. It's odd. The best thing about Tombi Bar is that the game was so varied. You had your platforming, the ability to hop on enemies' backs and use them for some extra leverage with your jumps, weapons, power-ups, side quests, all wrapped up in a charming and beautifully vibrant bow. Tell me this wouldn't look great or re-rendered with detailed sprites. Also, look at him run! Outstanding. Tombi Booba Booba was a brilliantly realised platformer which provided challenge at every turn, and its offbeat presentation would truly turn heads if it was able to get the thumbs up from the gods of gaming. Plus, it's a cult classic for a reason, so it would be treasured by fans the world over. And again, I might just add, look at that run, you're welcome.
And there you go, our number 1 was Tombi.
combat.
Or whatever. But either way, you guys can let us know what you think down in the comments below. Now that we kind of know how to even do this style of remaster, what old school PS1 gem do you want to see? Let us know down below. Either way, I've been Scott from occculture.com.
And I've been Jules.
And we'll catch you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. It might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.
subscribe.